One of the most common complaints about Far Cry 3 is that it's always just a little bit too easy and doesn't offer enough challenge to the more hardcore players. If that sounds like you, then stick around, because in this video I'm going to show you how you can get some of the best mods to make Far Cry 3 a heck of a lot more challenging. So what are we going to do? So today we're going to be looking at Ziggys Mod, which was made by Dziggy for Far Cry 3. Now this is a compilation mod, meaning a lot of the stuff in this mod he put together, and he has done it absolutely fantastically, but it also includes a few kind of patches and things put together by other players as well. So this isn't just a mod that changes one thing about the game, it changes loads of things about the game. So much so that I don't think I can really do it justice in just one video, but I'm going to try and give you a bit of an overview to all of the changes you can expect in Ziggys Mod. In Mod It episode 3, I am going to talk about how you actually install Far Cry 3 mods, so if you're interested in that, just check my channel for the follow-up video. The first big change that Ziggys Mod makes to the game is it just makes the whole thing so much harder in a whole bunch of ways. The first thing is you can no longer tag enemies. You know when you use the camera or the sniper rifle and you tag those enemies and they glow big and red and they appear through the walls? No longer happens. All of the enemies, you've got to spot them visually by eye, and you've got to kind of keep tabs on and work out where they are. I see as that guy goes behind the barrel, I don't get any kind of see through the barrel to see where he is. There's nothing I can do. I've just got to try and work out where they are at all times, which makes the whole thing a lot more tense. You'll also notice that there's nothing on the minimap. In fact, there isn't a minimap. It's just been replaced with a simple compass. This, of course, means the placement of bad guys again becomes a lot harder, a lot more tricky, and you're far more dependent on strategy and observation skills rather than just kind of looking at the map and saying, oh, there's a guy on my left, there's a guy on my right. It of course also makes it harder without that mini-map to say, well, which way are these guys facing? You know, if I pop out, are they going to see me, or are they not going to see me? So cover becomes a lot more important, and even the places you view from become a lot more important. He's also played with the damage in the game as well. If you play on easy, then you've still going to have a fairly forgiving kind of damage level to the game. But if you are playing on master, as I am here, then the damage that they do to you is equal to the damage that you do to them, which makes you a lot more vulnerable, a lot more delicate whilst playing the game. Now he's also put loads of changes in terms of the spawn rate around the game. Now obviously at this point here I'm doing one of those camps, but while you're going around between the camps you'll see that there are a lot more random encounters, there's a lot more kind of dangerous animals around. Basically you have a lot more kind of contact with the enemy, which is going to put you in a position of needing a lot more ammo and to be a lot more strategic and a lot more careful when you walk around as well. This makes the game, I think, so much more interesting and so much more fun to play with. Yes, you will die more, and yes, there will be times when you bite on your fist going, oh my god, I can't believe I died again, but the overall impact is that the game is so much more rewarding when you eventually get through these difficult sections. Now I'm playing the hardcore version of Ziggys Mod. Once you go onto the Nexus to find the mod, you'll see that there are two different types, the normal mod and the hardcore mod. And the trick with the hardcore mod is that it drastically increases the amount of XP you're gonna need for each one of those skill points. Now this means that when you are trying to take over a camp like I just was there, I was desperately trying to do it all stealthily because I needed that 1,500 XP to get to my next skill point. I don't know about you, but in my first playthrough without the mods, I ended up almost drowning in skill points by the end, and I don't think I actually ever bothered using them all. I think I had about kind of 10 left over at the end that I just never bothered to put on. But this time, I am desperate for those skill points, and therefore getting every little bit of XP out of these encounters I can is really important to me, which again makes the game a lot more interesting, doesn't it? So where possible, I'm trying to do knife takedowns. Where possible, I'm trying to take over camps without being spotted. Where possible, I'm trying to disable alarms and all these kind of little things like that to get extra bits of XP. But what Ziggy's done is to to help you out is that certain things that didn't used to give you XP before now do. So for example, picking up this computer never used to give you any XP at all. You see I'm there on 1500 out of 2000, but now picking up a computer does. Skinning an animal never used to give you XP. Now it gives you just a tiny bit, but it does give you some to kind of help you get towards these higher amounts required. Now he's also done loads of tweaks towards with money and consumables and guns and all that kind of, and crafting. He's made everything. He's basically going to raise the prices and made everything a lot more valuable and harder to get. He's also sorted out ammo, which means that you no longer have to spend loads and loads on ammo, because there was always like a minimum requirement before. Like even if you needed 1 rocket, you'd have to buy 5 rockets and stuff like that. But if you go into the assault rifles here, you'll see that all of these assault rifles are available from the start. I'm actually fairly early on in the game, so I can see them all. I can see which guns I want to aim for, and I can work towards them from the very start. I mean, I can't buy them all because I haven't got a big enough wallet and I don't have enough money and all that kind of stuff, but I can see them, so it's all open from the start, giving me a lot more options. Things like bows and arrows are a lot more expensive, so you've got to save up for them. Things like the attachments are a lot more expensive, but you have more options when it actually comes to adding the attachments on. Again, makes it a lot more interesting. He's also done a lot of work with the signature weapons, which I must admit I completely ignored in my first playthrough. I didn't really see the point, but now what he's done here is he's put a list of about 20 signature weapons together that are all kind of slightly better in their own different ways, and as I scroll through them you can see it's got like plus armor penetration, or fires a special type of bullets, or has a different scope, or things like that, as well as having some cool designs on the side. So he's really put some work into making signature weapons worth buying and worth having, which is absolutely fantastic. We've also got some simple little tweaks. For example, on this pause menu, or the map menu, there's no longer that little annoying noise you'll hear in the background, which was always a bit silly, like you're looking at a map, maps don't make noises, and now it reflects that. He's also cleaned up a lot of the map icons to make it easier to read, but also a bit kind of simpler as well, challenging, and more like you've got a bit of a scrappy map in front of you rather than an in-depth sat-nav, and it forces you to kind of plan your routes out a little bit more, work out exactly what's going on. He's also taken off the animal symbols and just replaced them with generic paw prints. Red paw print means dangerous animal, black paw print means non-dangerous animal. But it means that when you are crafting, you can't just click on the map and go, okay, great, I'm going to go and find the goat, go to the goat section, all done. You've actually got to explore the island. Now, on first glance, that might sound a bit kind of tedious, but actually, I've really, really enjoyed kind of wandering, and I never really needed to do that in my first playthrough. I just kind of went straight to locations, straight to missions, straight to wherever the game was telling me to go, using fast travel. But I've actually found myself just wandering around now, finding all these beautiful locations, finding different types of animals, enjoying finding more relics than I have before, which has been really fun and changed the game and made it again a more kind of immersive place to be, because if you were lost on an island you probably would find yourself exploring more than you would find yourself just driving immediately from place to place. Now, because everything is more expensive when it comes to crafting, this means that those skills where you get 2 animal skills, as you can see here, 2 tiger skins instead of 1, and those skills where you get 2 plants from harvesting a plant instead of 1, are now a lot more valuable. Because if I just pop into the crafting menu here, you'll see that the requirements for everything has gone up, and I actually really struggled to get my second holster. I was running around with just 1 gun for quite a while because I couldn't find a final wild boar, and I eventually found one over by the mansion. But although it was frustrating not having a second gun, again it raised the immersion. I needed to find this wild boar, and having the higher requirements and the fact that I couldn't just find them on the map made it a lot more challenging. And hopefully you've seen here, just as I'm flipping through these ingredients, everything has been raised just a little bit. Even crafting a basic health injection is now 2 green plants rather than 1, which is brilliant because it gives a real purpose to those skills where you harvest 2 plants and harvest 2 animal skills. And actually those were the first skills that I went for because the requirements for these things had raised up. Another nice little visual tweak is that, and this probably does require you having played the game before, is that when you move towards something that you can select, you don't get that little visual cue saying press E here or press use on this. You're just going to go up to it and press the button. And that goes for cars, that goes for skinning animals, it goes for missions. You just go up for it, and like with the car here, you'll see no notification at all, but I can still climb into it. So this is probably a mod that is more useful for people's second playthrough rather than their first. But for me, it's just so much of a better game. It's worth even perhaps playing a few missions to get the idea and then kind of restarting. You'll see on the compass on the left that although there's no minimap, you can add a waypoint like I just did there, which was the you see on the compass just about straight ahead of me now. There's a little box just around the edge. Thank you, my amazing driving skills I know will impress you there. But you can add a little kind of waypoint like that, but that's as much as you can do. The rest of it is down for you to keep checking the map just like you would in real life, and to kind of make your way from location to location. And speaking of skills, this is a fairly popular tweak that you'll find in the mods on Far Cry 3, but it is a brilliant one, and Dziggy has included it, which is the fact that all of the skills are actually available from the start. You've still got to go down the individual tree, and some of them do have prerequisites like melee kill 3 guys before it will activate, but you don't have to have completed certain missions, which means that once again your character is a lot more customizable a lot earlier, and you can really choose strategically how you want to play the game. Last couple of tweaks that I want to draw your attention to. The wingsuit is unlocked from a lot earlier in the game this time, or basically just after the tutorials that comes along, which is great, especially if you've played through the game once, to be able to use this from earlier on. Speaking of falling, Dziggy has also adapted the fact that you can now fall a bit further before half dying, and it was because I think most of us felt in the original game you'd jump down something that looked fairly easy and you would die, and he's fixed that, and he's also made it possible for you to scrabble up slightly steeper cliffs, because it could be frustrating on occasions when you were trying to get up and down hills and you couldn't quite make it. Overall though, what Dziggy has put together here really takes a very, very good game and makes it a great game. So if what I've suggested today appeals, click the link below, go to the Nexus, have a read through all the other tweaks, probably the other 200 tweaks that he's made to this game, download it, install it, and start getting into this far more challenging, far more immersive, far more thrilling, far more difficult game, which you'll hopefully will find a lot more rewarding than you did the first time through. But be warned, you will be getting shot a lot, and even when you think you're being awesome, you will find yourself being taken down and staring at your own arm quite a lot. If you've enjoyed this video, please do subscribe to the channel or follow me on Twitter to see when the latest videos are coming out. I do lots of tutorials and mod videos that I hope you would be interested in. Do, of course, if you do download the mod, thank Dziggy and uprate his mod on the Nexus as well. Take care, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.